All right, there we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sewing and Reaping YouTube channel. And I'm going to be responding to these two again, but that wasn't my original intent. Actually, today I had found originally I wanted to respond to a video that Drag did a few years ago, just to point out just how many different times he lied. I actually was going to use this new thing I have on my phone where I can count all of the lies coming out of his mouth, and of course showing everybody that he lied too. But at the same time, I saw something that was on Carrie's channel, uh, and apparently she responded to Rev crying about, well, talking about how people can't get a living wage at Burger King, and how they don't pay you enough money. And of course, he's not talking about corporate; he's talking about an individual franchise, right? And I felt like that would be a lot more interesting to actually respond to, since everything that Rev said in that video was nonsense. And I'm actually going to try to respond to that, and hopefully they'll see this. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to bet they will. And I think I'm going to be able to solicit a response out of them because of what I'm going to say in this video today. Now, in all fairness, Rev has never been quote unquote poor before. He's never not had any money before, so he doesn't really understand the struggle. You know what I mean? This is kind of new to him still. I mean, Shanny probably has got a little bit more experience than him, you know, knowing how to navigate and learning how to survive and everything. But he has little to no experience in this whatsoever. So, but at the same time, it doesn't give him the right to go on his Instagram or wherever he made that video to lie through his teeth about, you know, his financial situation and everything. Okay, so the first thing that I want to deal with is the thing that he said about Burger King, and then I'm gonna get to the so-called mental illness he claims he has and Shanny has. All right, and no, I'm not gonna say that they suffer from laziness. I'm actually gonna tackle this so-called mental illness that they have, and if I do mention the other thing, it'll be toward the end. So, Rev, you said that you worked 12 hours a day at Burger King. That means you did your regular shift and then you worked a little bit of overtime. And you did this almost every day, you said. Just want to make sure I got your story straight. You said that you worked at Burger King in Dixon City, and when you were working over there, you were making $11 an hour, and you was doing 12 hours a day. I don't have a calculator in front of me or nothing like that, but I am going to point out why I say the things that I say about you a lot of times, man. Because you, I mean, I give you credit if you actually did work at Burger King. You know, at least you got up and tried to do something. But I got a lot of problems with that story, and I'm gonna tell you why. But first, let's get to your pay first, because the three tiers of this. There's the part about you not being able to live off that salary or that whatever you got paid at Burger King or whatever. We're gonna get to that in a minute. Then there's going to be a tier of whether or not you put this time in that you claim that you put in. And then we're going to get to this tier at the end about your mental illness. So let's start off with this whole Burger King thing here real quick. So according to you, Rev, you said that you worked for 12 hours a day and that you was making $11 an hour. That's what you were making. Okay, you were making $11 an hour, and you was working for Burger King, and you were working for 12 hours a day. Let's just give you $110, right? We're gonna give you $110, right, for the whole day. We're only gonna take $20 in taxes out every day that you work, right? So, well, yeah, $20. So that's gonna leave you with about $90, right? Since you worked every day, we're not even gonna give you every day because, like I said, Rev, when I first heard this, I knew that was nonsense when you were saying that. Okay, whoever trained you to lie like this is a terrible liar themselves. Okay, so whoever told you to say those things on camera need to be tarred, feathered, and humiliated because it was just dumb. All right. So let me get this straight here. Let's say you made $90 after taxes every day. Let's say that's all you made. Remember, I'm not giving you Saturday and Sunday. I'm just going to give you Monday through Friday because according to you, you did it almost every day or every day, right? And since I do have a little bit of experience working in fast food, I like to call baloney on that one, bub. But anyway, I'm just going to give you the 5 days. I'm going to give you $90 a day. Do you want 90 times 5, Rev, would be about $450, right? And that's after taxes. That's assuming the information that you're giving us is true. And we're assuming they're only taking $20 out of your paycheck every week or every 2 weeks, right? So every week, according to what you're saying here, Rev, every week you're making $450. Rev, every 2 weeks, Rev, you're almost making 1,000. You're making about 900 with this scenario that we're giving you here. You're making $900. $900 every 2 weeks. In a month, that means, using the scenario that we were using, that you are making $1,800 a month. Remember, I'm not even giving you Saturday and Sunday. I'm just saying Monday through Friday. And we're only taking about $20 out of your taxes, right? So let me get this straight here. You and Shanny have absolutely nothing at all but a government issued phone that you can get for free, right? You barely get any food stamps. And you're living at the Uncle house for free. And you think $1,800 is not good money? I'm not understanding this here, bub. You said that that's not a living wage, Rev. Now remember, Rev, we're talking like poor people here because I know all about it. And the one thing you can't say to me, bub, is you can't tell me that I don't know nothing about being poor. Okay? You can't tell me nothing about that. I mean, this is kind of new to you, but so you got $1,800. Now, if your mom and your dad and anybody else in your family really cared about you, they would actually teach you about something called budgeting, right? You can take, I don't know, let's say you get 450 a week. Let's just use the month here or whatever. It'd be easier if you got the 1,800 and whatnot, right? And as a matter of fact, let's do it on a weekly basis. So you're making a 450, right? Instead of using the full 450, what you do is you keep 100 for you and Shanny because your big goal is to get your own place and for you to be a man and support your woman and for you to have some independence and get some pride and some respect. So you use about 100 because you ain't paying no rent, you ain't paying no light bill, you ain't paying no water bill, you ain't doing none of that stuff. So you keep about $100 of that. Keep about $100 of that to yourself, and the other 350 you put to the side. That means you would go from, I obviously started with the 450, you saved 100. So you got the 350 plus another 350, that's $700 that you would actually put away in a 2-week span. If you was actually an adult and you knew something about budgeting, right? Oh, and Rev, I'm going to remind you on why I'm talking to you like this again, okay? Because I still didn't forget the first eviction or whatever. All right. So anyway, that's $700 you would have. You and Shanny only need about $100 a week to be able to go out there, you know what I mean, and go get to go out there and get some food or whatever. I mean, everyone knows what you're really doing with the money. You know what I mean? You're not going to go out there and get no food and be responsible and save the money, but let's just assume you're doing the right thing, right? So you got $700. And if you do it again for another 2 weeks, That's $1,400 that you got in the bank. Now, if you save that for 3 to 4 months, you almost, no, I would say about 5 months. Now, if you get a room, if you guys go rent a room, you can get a room, I think, these days for anywhere between $400 and $800. You can get a room for that much. But if you want an apartment, a cheap apartment, you should be able to get one for about maybe $1,200 a month. So if you're looking at rent and you're looking at security, about 5 months of you working the way you claimed you was working would be enough for you to save to get your apartment. That would be rent and security, and actually go to the Goodwill store and go get some furniture. I'm not sure that's going to be enough for you to get new furniture, but that would be enough for you to do what most other people got to do, and that's go to Goodwill and go get some furniture. Or you can ask your uncle to give you some of the furniture that's in that house and give it to you since he wants to sell the place anyway. There's a lot of things you can do. You know what I mean? Perhaps the YouTube community will see you be responsible and will actually donate furniture to you because they're not going to give you money, right? So you're lying, Rev, when you say that you can't live off of a Burger King income. I actually know a few people. Although it's difficult, it's hard. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not saying it's easy, but it is difficult. It's difficult to do, but it is possible for you to have a place, whether it be a room or you get a very, very small apartment and be able to live off the $11. And there's something else about Burger King that you're not talking about, Rev, which makes me question whether or not you really work there or not, right? When you go on your lunch, these fast food chains tend to tell you you can have any sandwich you want on the menu. They'll usually give you your options, depending on which franchise you work for, like you're saying. But you get to pick what is it they sell over there, a Whopper or one of their other sandwiches or whatever, right? And you can have that for your lunch. And they won't take that out your pay a lot of times. Now, if you worked in a kitchen service like I did, they would give you any of the things that they would give the students. You know what I mean? You could take that for free on your break. You turning down free lunch as well as pay and then just quitting like that, Rev, I don't think you're telling everybody everything. I think you're lying, dude. I think you're lying through your teeth. And all this mess about not being able to live off of Burger King income, I don't know about that, dude. I don't know about that. Because you remember that video when you made that you say you know how to use a cash register and you know how to do certain things? You bragged about this in Boulder, Colorado, Rev. You remember that, Rev, when you bragged about all the things that you could do? And how everybody used to be jealous of your mother and everybody used to be jealous of you because you didn't have to work, even though you could. You were lying in Colorado, you're lying in Pennsylvania, right? So anyway, let's continue to go through this here a little bit. So you know full well that you can get an apartment with that. You just gotta bust your behind to actually do it. Now here's the thing: you got another capable working person in the house named SHANNY, and she ain't trying to hear none of that. You're gonna be with her if that's gonna be your baby boo, cuckoo, boo boo, bye, whatever it is that you want to call her. Then you're gonna have to work. Oh, I thought that was gonna show up in the front. You're actually gonna have to work. That is the price for keeping SHANNY. Okay? Whether you like it or not. All right, you're gonna have to get off your behind and work. Right? Come to think about it, Rev, let me just save you a little bit of time. If you get involved with any female after SHANNY, after SHANNY gets up and finally leaves you, you're still going to have to work. There is no getting around that. I'm just letting you know, dude. All right. But anyway, so I'm not buying it when you say that you was making $11 an hour and then you were working 7 days a week. By law, they have to give you a day off, Rev. You can't just get on social media and say somebody's working you every single day. Burger King can get in trouble with that. You know what I mean? You have to have a day off. Now, let me get to the reasons why I'm not buying your story, Rev, with you actually saying that you worked 7 days a week and that you worked for 12 hours straight. That means for 12 straight hours, you're away from SHANNY. right? You're away from Shanny. And dude, I used to be in a car with you. You would drive from that house to Walmart. Anybody can get a GPS or whatever, or do Google Maps and see that Walmart was not that far. He'd be in a car for all but 10 minutes before he got a phone call, and she wants to know where he is and when he's coming back. 10 minutes. 15 minutes after that, you get another phone call before he finally says, "Oh, you see what I got to go through?" But you're trying to explain to people on here for 12 hours a day. I'm assuming for about a week you probably lasted at that job, Rev. That you're trying to get me to believe that you was able to stay away from Shanny for 12 hours. For 12 hours, no cigarettes when you want them, no weed, no video games, no movies, no gossip about Foodie Beauty, no gossip about Truthfully Trisha or Trisha Paytas, no movies 24/7 or any of that. I'm supposed to believe that you was away for 12 hours, for 12 hours away from your Shanny poo, who can't stand to be by herself for longer than 10 minutes, and you was away from her for 7 days a week for 12 hours a day? What kind of stupidity is that? Why would you get on social media and say something like that? That's what I would like to know. So that's why I'm not buying your story. I can't speak for everybody else. I'm only speaking for myself. All right. So I would like to know how you think you can't have a living. I mean, I've worked for a lot less. I worked for less than minimum wage, and I did just fine. Just fine. Because I got no problem with working. I can be a workaholic sometimes, just like other people can be workaholics. Because when you want things and you want to get things done, you got to work for it. You have to work for it. God is not going to bless a lazy person. I understand this, right? And you got to be able to put your foot down and tell relatives or girlfriends or whatever you want to call them at the time or whatever, that, listen, I got to work because I need some money in my pocket. I got to get out of this situation. So I'm not buying your story, Rev. I'm not buying it for a minute. Then there's the issue of this mental illness that you claim you have. You and Shanny keep talking about you got mental illness. Let's start off with Shanny, because I've been on you for a little bit here. Let's get on Shanny here for a little bit. So Shanny has a mental illness, according to some family members and according to Shanny, right? That she suffers from borderline personality disorder, right? And she has debilitating pain in her knees, which prevents her from working. By the way, that prevents you from standing up. That does not prevent a person from working. Jany, I already said a lot of things about the claims that you made on YouTube that you were working 3 jobs and all those other garbage and whatnot. I've seen the videos with you working in that nursing place for all but a whole week or whatever. I'm not going through all of that. I've already said that over and over and over again. There's no need to repeat it. But let me tell you this, Jany. Not only are you not okay, not only do you not suffer from any mental illness or anything like that, okay, Jany, but you can work. You see, there are online jobs where all you got to do, Shanny, and you're going to love this, Shanny. Check this out. You get a chair, okay? You sit in the chair and you type and you answer the phone. It's called being a secretary. Doesn't involve any heavy lifting or anything like that. You know that IQ that you claim that you got that's greater than presidents or whatever? I showed you opportunities online that, and for those of you who don't know, we know people on YouTube that have started businesses. And I have explained this to Shanny, that if Shanny would just contact them, she would never have to leave her chair. And she can make a pretty good living. But Shanny doesn't want to do that, right? Because Shanny wants to get on here and pretend like she has a mental illness. Now, this is the thing that I don't think I've said on here before. I know Shanny was friends with Brett Keane. For those of you who don't know who he is, he was one of the first outspoken atheists that used to speak here on YouTube. Very popular with people like the Amazing Atheist, Jacqueline Glenn. All of them popular atheists know who Brett Keane is, right? And Shanny has watched a lot of these YouTubers before they became big make a lot of money on the internet. And she is still trying to get her piece of the pie, where she wants people on YouTube to feel sorry for her and to give her money. It's not just that she wants to scam people. She's got this thing in her head. If she can get enough people to feel sorry for her, she can make the big money that the other YouTubers are making. I have been around this woman personally a lot. Jany does not suffer from any mental illness that would prevent her. That's the key part right there. That would prevent her, let me say this again, that would prevent her from getting a job. Okay? She says that she has knee pain and whatnot. Okay, get a job where you sit down then. It's called the secretary. Maybe you can answer phones and make appointments. Okay? There are jobs you can get where your sole job all day long is to pick up the phone, make appointments, and make sure the person that you're working with, who you're working for, gets their appointments. That's all you got to do. But you don't want to do that because you're too addicted to this social media stuff, and you want to make your social media money. And I ain't saying this off of hearsay. I've been around them long enough to know how she thinks. All right? Then there's Rev with this mental illness that prevents him from working because if he works around people, he's going to rip their heads off. You know what, Rev? Listen to me. I'm going to tell you what you need. It will cure every fake mental illness you think you have. I'm not saying that you don't got a temper problem. We'll get to that in a minute. But it's not something that can prevent you from working. Okay? This is the number one thing, Rev, that will help you. Some people on here are going to agree with me, and some people are not. Listen to me. If any of you have the privilege of actually meeting Rev will snap on you. The one thing I can say consistent about that cat is that his little short temper that he has on YouTube also is the same way he is in real life. But all that, him wanting to beat somebody up and all this other stuff and whatnot, Rev's all talk with that. And when I say, I mean, that's why he had to buy a AK-47, whatever the heck that rifle was he had at the house, and the other gun that he had. Rev can't fight, all right? So, Rev, this is going to sound a little weird coming from me, but I know it's the cure for your temper, to teach you how to talk to people with respect, okay? This is not going to sound like something a Christian would say, but if you think about it, I'm going to make some sense saying this, okay? I think the fastest way to cure you of your temper problem and how you talk to other men is for you to get beat up. I believe that if you got beat up by another man, that would cure you of all of this talk that you like to do towards other men, because you would think twice about it, okay? Now, with that being said, right, you don't have a therapist. You was not diagnosed. I'm talking to you, Rev, okay? Not Shanny. You was not diagnosed with borderline personality disorder by a trained professional doctor. You was diagnosed with that by Google and Shanny for Satan. That is who diagnosed you of your so-called mental illness. Okay? All this mess about how you guys are going to the doctors and all this other stuff. Listen to me. You can fool maybe a percentage of these YouTubers on here, but you two are so anti-hospital. You two are so anti-doctor that you didn't even get your kids vaccinated. I'm just keeping it $1.50 because you two are not vaccinated. All right? I'm just keeping it $1.50. All right, stop with I saw my therapist. She said being on YouTube is bad for my mental health. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna listen to my therapist, and I'm gonna go on social media and tell everybody my whole life story so that they can attack me. You ain't got no therapist. You or Shanny, right? Neither one of you got a therapist. Neither one of you. All right? You don't got, Rev, listen to me. You and Shanny, if both of you had a mental illness that prevented you two from being able to work, both of you would be on disability. Neither one of you are on disability because there is nothing wrong with you. When you had your Losers Club YouTube channel, you claimed you was doing the paperwork to be able to get Social Security. When you was on what was that, Rumble, or what the heck, what was the other one that they was on that they lost because she showed her butt cheeks or whatever on there or whatever? I forget what that was called. You guys claimed that you was going to apply for that there, and you never did it. When you're living in a house, you claimed you was going to apply for it, and you didn't. You want to know why? Because both of you know there's nothing wrong with you and Rev. I have the letter from Social Security, Rev. I have the letter that says that there's nothing there's nothing wrong with you that's going to prevent you from being able to work. That ain't the only thing I got. I also got some tax forms with you actually paying off taxes for some business venture that you wanted to do. You can work, you just don't want to work because you can't bear to be away from Shanny. And you two are still trying to sucker and con people on here to feel sorry for the two of you so that you two can get that, that YouTube riches that you two want so bad. So that you can go to Colorado again and start bragging at everybody how rich you are and how powerful you are and how much money you got and getting high so you could take the cross down off your wall and put another marijuana dream catcher on your wall again. So Shanny can dress up like a little witch and then walk around thinking she's all that because she was able to sucker people out of their money. Just keeping it $150. You have no mental illness, Rev. And I know that for a fact. Even if you could afford a lawyer, you couldn't sue me, dude, because I can prove it. I have your Social Security papers. I can prove it. You can work. You pay taxes before for working. Cut the baloney, dude. Cut the baloney. Oh, Burger King doesn't give you. But listen, I understand why you two got to make these videos because you got to, those videos ain't just for people on YouTube. I get it. I understand. You got to make those videos because you got to convince the uncle that you can't work. See, Rev, let me hit you with a little revelation news, my friend. You are the worst nephew on planet Earth. See, not only is Shanny playing your uncle, you're playing your uncle. See, I'm not gonna let you blame Shanny for trying to manipulate and to control and sucker your uncle out of money and use your family. What do you think you're doing when you sit there and lie about not being able to work? When you sit there and lie saying that you don't have the opportunities, you two are so out of touch with reality. It's not even funny. You're just now going to food banks. You're just now understanding, hey, we can get free food at food banks. A lot of us poor people knew about that for years. Y'all just now discovering that. Just like there's other poor people that knows what welfare is, Social Security is, temporary rent assistance, which you don't want to get because this is what they say, guys, and this is what they said to me when they lived inside that house. Well, when the temporary rent assistance is over with, how are we going to pay our rent? I hear voices. Rev, you don't hear no voices, dude. What it's called withdrawal. As a matter of fact, the less weed the two of you get, the better. Since you want people praying for you two, I pray that God prevents you guys from being able to get weed for a whole 2 or 3 years, including Delta 8. That he puts a stumbling block before the two of you and stop you from getting it. Because that's what you want the donations for. You're getting food. When the uncle was over your house today, Rev, and that's the shocker I was going to mention today, because I know he was over there. And when the uncle was at your house today, Rev, is that why you and Shanny are so walking around here so confident and so bold again to say all the things that you guys are saying on social media? Did he reassure you that you have nothing to worry about and he gave you more time? Just curious. I'm just curious. Because it doesn't really matter. Because you guys, I'm talking about Shanny and Rev, you're going to bankrupt Rev's uncle. You're going to bankrupt him. Your last and final lifeline is going to become bankrupt because his unloving nephew, his nephew who's committed treason against his own family, has decided to use and play the uncle. Anything to keep that barracuda happy in that house. Yeah, that's an ad hom. Yeah, Rev. That's totally a ad hom I use. But I'm not debating, so it's not really that, to be perfectly honest. And you can't get mad at Christ. You can't get mad at God. You can't get mad at the church. Okay? The Bible says too many different things about lazy people. The Bible says nothing positive about liars. And as a matter of fact, he condemns them. He has harsh words. He tells you that diligent hands will rule, but laziness will lead you to poverty. And you and Shanny tend to forget that. You two only want to talk about the scriptures of, I'm going to love my neighbor. The end. That's the entire Bible. Love your neighbor. No, that's idolatry. That is not the totality of what a Christian's supposed to be. That's why I don't believe you two are Christians. I believe the two of you are witches. You don't follow the principles of Scripture at all. Not getting on there, especially you, Rev, with some of the stuff I recently heard you say on that channel. You think God's going to bless that? You must be crazy. He's going to punish you for saying that mess. He's going to straight up, outright punish you for that. You have got to learn, Rev, that life is not about keeping Shanny happy. That's not even your wife. She's barely your girlfriend, and she has no value whatsoever. And Shanny, I challenge you to make a video and explain your value. When a man gets to the point that he has to wipe your own butt, that's when you know you don't got no value. And let me take it a step further, Shanny. I know you get insurance. I know you get insurance. You said on camera, well, I need to get a wheelchair because it's getting very difficult for me to go to the bathroom. Jany, I don't know if you notice or not, those things are free when you use your insurance. I don't know if you have Medicaid or Medicare or whatever it is that you have, but if you have Medicare, sometimes Medicare will pay the whole thing. Sometimes you have to pay like maybe 10%. Instead of using your money for dope all the time, maybe you can use some of that money and actually get yourself a wheelchair if you actually need one. But I already know you don't need one. I know there's nothing wrong with your legs. I'm not saying that you don't go through pain because of your weight. I am saying that you're full of it when you say you got osteo this and you got osteo that and you got heart problems and all this other mess and whatnot. No, what you got is cholesterol issues, you got sugar issues, and you got lard issues. That's what you have. I'm just keeping it $1.50. That's what you have. And I wish you would be honest about that. All right. So I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it. Rev, there's no way in the world you're going to tell me that you worked 7 days a week, 12 hours a day at Burger King and actually was bringing home $1,800 a month. And you're trying to convince me that you can't live off of that? Okay. And even if you didn't say that and you said 6 days, I gave you 5 days and showed you what you could do with 5 days. I know you heard the concept of overtime, Rev, because if you was working 7 days, that's time and a half. That means you would get the $11, okay, plus an additional, what is that, $5.50 you would get per hour. If you went over the 40 hours a week or whatever the allotted time is for whatever your the situation was with working at Burger King. You, Rev, are a liar. And this is why nobody is donating to you no more. You want to know why? You think if you actually get on here and you tell everybody I worked every day and I work 12 hours a day, then people are just going to just throw the donations at you. It don't work that way, Rev. People aren't stupid. Hey, Rev, do yourself a favor. You remember when you and Shanny threw me out that house? I got on YouTube and I told people to straight up bonafide, and obviously Shanny was making it very public and everything and whatnot, and so was Rev. So I just went on there and told people the truth. I said, look, I got to get out of this house. I need rent and security. And do you know that YouTube, and I'm talking about atheists, these people don't like me, Shanny and Rev. You know that. They don't like me. The atheists and Christians all donated to me. Okay, and you was like, well, let him be homeless, let him be this. Both of you are going to continue to be punished by God until you stop getting on here with your little theatrical lying that you guys are doing on here. I would talk about the recent death in Shanny's family, but I'm going to be sensitive. I'm not going to do it because there's only one way I know how to do my YouTube stuff. I'm sorry, there's only one way I know how to do it, so I'd rather not talk about it at all. But those two, listen to me. I like I said, I've been around them. There's another guy by the name of Agent Adoubt. Get in contact with him. I think he met them in person at one of their court cases, either when Rev ran into that car or when Shanny and Rev was together when they wasn't supposed to be together or whatever. I forget because I wasn't watching them a lot at that particular time. But Agent Adoubt met them in person. Ask him, do they? Because I think he's a therapist or something like that. Go ask him. There ain't nothing wrong with those two. There are videos of Shanny driving around in a car. I showed you all the video in the opening of this. Shanny punching a punching bag. Okay, you can go look at how she was walking around in Colorado, and she only started to not be able to work and do anything for herself when that money ran out. And Rev knows this. He just doesn't care. She's better than a blow up doll or whatever the heck it is that he was doing, whatever he was doing with that mannequin or whatever it is that he was dealing with. Until this very day, I still hold to the opinion that Rev does not love Shanny, because when a man loves a woman, a man is going to he's going to bust his behind to try to care for the people that he loves. Okay, Shanny doesn't love Rev because Shanny would do everything in her power to try to help her man. They're conning each other. They're lying to each other. And Rev, I'm sorry, dude. I gotta say this, and your uncle will probably see this and probably will not like me no more when I say this. I don't believe you love your uncle, dude. Because if you loved your uncle, you would never let water come in the way of blood. Girlfriends can be replaced, dude. That uncle is literally one of like maybe 4 that you have in your entire clan. And you are allowing this hooker, this prostitute, this porn star like yourself to play your uncle. Somebody left me a comment one time on one of my channels and said, no, G-Man, do you only disagree with Shanny because of her physical appearance or whatever? Shanny's physical appearance, believe it or not, doesn't have nothing to do about what I think about her. It's Shanny, it's who this woman is and what she's all about. She's a lying con artist who is worth absolutely nothing. Any man dumb enough to pursue her for a relationship better be rich, because she is going to bring 0 to the table. Okay, you're going to cook your own food, you're going to clean your own house, you're going to take care of everything. Listen to me, she's going to do nothing but sit there and claim that she's going through bone pain that she ain't going through so that you can do everything. She's worthless in that regard. Now, her soul, Jesus died for her soul. So if she ever decides that she wants to get serious, she can accept Christ as a savior, just like Rev can. But neither one of those two know Jesus. There's no way on God's green earth the two of these people know Jesus and are behaving like this on social media. All right. So let me see what you guys are saying in the chat here. No, Shanny doesn't have any value. She has none whatsoever. Shanny has no value whatsoever. None. Absolutely none. There is no reason why any man should want her because she doesn't bring nothing to the table. Every time you talk to Shanny, it's tragedy. You know what I mean? It's tragedy. Something horrible has happened, and there's nothing about her that would make you want to go, I gotta have her. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay. Chris, I think when Chris got her, she was at least willing to go work for like a week or two. But Rev's still walking around here and believing that Shanny was working all these jobs. You know, if Rev had a brain, Rev would use that Obama phone that he has or the government phone that he has, do a little bit of research and realize that Shanny wasn't working at all these places for as long as she claimed that she was. A little bit of research. That's all he got to do. See, Rev, it's easier to believe a lie than it is to accept the truth. That woman that you're with, she used you, she spent all of your money, she spent the great majority of your money, and now she's coming for your uncle. She's gonna spend all of his money. And then when he don't got no more money, and you ain't got nothing to offer no more, Rev, she's gonna drop both of you. And then she's gonna fly her behind the Duluth, which is what I think is actually gonna end up happening. Because now I think she's trying to make nice with her family now. And I have good reason to believe this. She's trying to. I've listened to the last few videos that they made. And when I say last few videos, I'm talking about like the last 2 or 3 weeks. I think Shanny's smartening up and realizing she ain't getting nowhere with Rev. I don't think Rev cares, so don't expect for him to get on here and be like, "You're G-man this and G-man that." No. I don't think he cares because it's a win-win for him anyway. He wins if Shanny leaves because now he gets to do something with his life versus being with. And then there's a win because he can stay with his uncle. Because I do not see his uncle watching Rev sleep on the street if he's away from Shanny. I just don't see it happening. Rev holds all the cards and he knows it. And you can tell by the way he's been behaving lately. He knows he holds all the cards. And Shanny, I'm talking directly to you. All right. We're not friends no more. But I think at least this much you will accept. All right. I think this much you will accept. All right. It's over. You started off with 5 people watching you when you was over there with Chris and with Chafee, you know, with Chris, and when you was over there in Duluth and whatnot, and that's where you're at again. Carrie, Drader, AIT Petty, and Draven are the only ones keeping you two, well, sometimes me too, it's keeping you guys relevant. I'm just keeping it real. You don't have 300 different channels talking about you no more. Them days are gone. Them days are gone. What I strongly recommend you do, Shanny, is stick to your plan, because some people in here might disagree with me. Okay? But if you pay attention to Shanny, this is what she's doing. She's trying to make nice with anybody to get away from Rev. I heard what she said about her cousin that passed away. My condolences, Shanny. But she wants to go back home, and that's what she should have did from the word go. That's what she should have did from the word go. And I feel sorry for Rev because one day this dude's going to wake up. Shanny is not going to be there. And he is going to and by the way, Shanny will start a fight with him, make a bunch of claims, go on YouTube, try to get everybody to pity her and support her and everything before she goes back to Duluth. And then what she'll do is she'll be like, what Rev will do is Rev's gonna, when she's gone, he'll go to sleep and he'll wake up and realize like, wow, everything that they said on social media is true. Everything. And that's what's gonna end up happening, Rev. Now, you can be arrogant. The Bible says that pride cometh before the fall and a haughty spirit before the destruction. You can be powerful and continue to do things the way you want and everything and whatnot. It's all fine and well. No biggie. Don't bother me none. I don't have to deal with that. I don't have to go out there and worry about I don't have to go out there and and worry about when I go to bed, is Shanny gonna up and leave? I don't have to worry about that. I'm not gonna lie. In the great debate days, I thought Shanny was a good person. I thought Shanny was all right. In the great debate days, I thought that Shanny was all right when she came into these rooms. Then Shanny started getting a little bit of attention on her channel. I started noticing the cussing. Yeah, don't worry about it. You know, people tend to do that every now and then. Cussing got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. We would talk to her, correct her, and she just kept doing it. Then she started taking the side of the people that would destroy her later. Shanny, if you're going to go to Duluth, you need to do it as fast as possible. And you better do it before the uncle says get out. Because when I told you guys to leave, you didn't see that coming. See, what a lot of you guys on social media don't know is that when they originally moved in that house, they were supposed to be out of there, I think, after 3 months or whatever, because they claimed they was going to get their paperwork and all that stuff done. They obviously ended up staying there a lot longer. But what happened was, like I said, I came in there one day. I asked them to keep the place clean because I wanted to try to sell the place. And I went in there and that place smelled like, anyway, so I talked about that in the past. The place smelled terrible and everything and whatnot. And then I go to the tub, and the tub had all of this gray stuff all around the tub, and the water wouldn't go to the bottom. That's how much of that gray stuff was in the tub. And I yelled at them. And I think my the neighbor I had at the time got on my case a little bit because I was loud that day. I yelled at the both of them. I said some things to the that y'all don't used to hear me say on YouTube. I was pretty angry that day. And Rev was like he wasn't going to clean anything. And then he eventually thought about it, went in there and wiped down the tub, and I told them that they both got to get out. And that was the beginning of it. So one day, Rev, you're going to wake up, and the uncle's going to be like, pack your bags and get out. Just like when you guys was at that hotel, and you heard that person doing this. You got to get out, busted pipe. When it's time to go, it's time to go. You two are just sitting around believing everything is going to remain the way it is, or a perfect hunky-dory lovey-dovey. I don't care if it's a family member or not. You should be covering your behind by putting some money to the side, and you're not doing it. And you ain't going to go to a halfway house, Rev, because you're homeless. That's not how halfway houses work. It's the homeless shelter. That's where you're going to end up going. And I don't know if they have one in Dixon City or not, or what the name of that town that you guys are in. Rev's uncle, if you're, I would use your name, but I'm not going to do it. Rev's uncle, if you're watching this part, stop giving them so much money. Give them enough to be able to get some food and maybe help themselves out a little bit, and give them a limit on when they have to get out. Because if you don't, they're going to try to do to you what they try to do to me. They're going to bleed you until they get every cent they can out of you. First, it'd be for tobacco. Just to prove to you I know what I'm talking about. First, it'd be for cigarettes and tobacco. Then he needs gas for the car. Then he's going to need money for Delta 8. Then they don't got no food. They need help getting the kids back. And they want to do this. And they want to do... And it'd be a million things at one time they're going to throw on you. I ain't the only one that's been through this. There's other people in here that you can go look at. This woman's channel called Carrie, Bored Housewife channel. You can go to... Draven's Crypt channel to learn about this. You can go to, if you want to just hear Shanny and Rev talk and nobody else talk, go to XX Archive, and then there's Shabby, that's spelled S-H, I think A-B-B-Y, Shabby for Christ. And then there's, see, Dragnut took down all of his videos. Who's the other one? Oh, Aya T. Petty. Aya is Spanish for she. All right, so it's E-L-L-A. Aya is, no, it's Aya T. Petty, I think it is. But then you can go on the channel and you'll hear Shanny talking just herself and whatnot with a little bit of commentary and everything. And you'll see why I'm being so mean toward those two, because they lie. They will promise you forever that they're going to fill out paperwork and whatnot. It doesn't take nobody this long to go down there and get paperwork and fill it out. It does not take that long. As a matter of fact, it takes about a year for somebody to get an answer about Social Security. They can go to the Social Security office. They can apply for it. They go see the doctor. The doctor sees whether or not which they're not going to determine that those two physically handicapped. I'm telling you that right now. And then they wait a little bit and then they get an answer. Takes about roughly a year. And those two are lying to you. And they're going to try to bleed you dry. And then when you stop helping them, they're going to do what they did to you the first time. You're going to be a sack of you know what. You're going to be a piece of you know what. You're going to be ungrateful and all this other stuff that they said about you the first time. And for the love of everything that is holy, don't put no money in Shanny's hands. Don't do it, because you won't get it back. Do not put no money in her hands. Don't give her a dime. Not a dime. I am warning you, especially if it's something serious. It will go on Delta 8. She is a weed head. She worships weed and she needs it to function. Don't give her any money. I think I tried to communicate this to you via the phone a couple of times. Do not give that woman any money. None. She is irresponsible and she's not a responsible person whatsoever at all. And if you want to know just how irresponsible she is, go take a look at how they lost that apartment over there in Colorado when she knew she had to move out, and you'll see what I'm talking about. She's a con artist. Her and your nephew. And like I said, I met you, sir. I think you're all right, but that nephew of yours, they like to use people. All right. So let me see something here. I think what he sees in her is that's his first real woman, his first real girl or whatever. He doesn't understand there's other girls out there that will actually do what Shanny's not willing to do, like work. If he understood that, I think he would have dropped her by now. All this mess about Shanny being there for him when he had wet brain and all of that and whatnot. If Rev actually took the time out to go look at those old videos, I think his opinion would change. And I heard, and Rev knows this stuff, by the way. That's what kills me about this. Because when he gets angry and he gets mad and they fight, he basically confirms that he knows all of this. He don't care. I think at this point, he's now using her to salvage something of what he used to have with all of that money. But anyway, I'm babbling. I'm going to wrap this video up, guys. Don't listen to those two. And this is coming from somebody who has given them somewhere to live. This is coming from somebody who has met them in person. All that, I don't know them, that none of that mess applies to me. I know them very well. And there is nothing wrong with them to the point that they can't work, especially with Rev, especially with him. He can work, and so can Shanny. Do not allow those two to con you into believing that they're so helpless that they can't make any money. Listen, when Shanny and Rev got back from when they left Colorado and they went all the way to from Colorado to Pennsylvania, Shanny and Rev was looking at about $1,300 to $1,400 off of ad revenue. Off of ad revenue. Shanny and Rev, when they were living in a house that I let them live in for free, was making almost $1,000 a month off of ad revenue and wasn't giving me a dime. And I only know this because Rev told me this. They use people. That's what they do. And this is why I don't consider, this is one of the reasons why I don't consider them to be Christians. There are people who are not Christians that cuss a lot, that got more sense about their swearing and everything than those two do. Shanny has lied about being God's best friend, being a prophetess, being a legit teacher in the Lord. Shanny is a con artist. She never left whatever her religious beliefs was before she so-called became a Christian. And Rev is a legit victim. Rev is a victim. However, just because he's a victim doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve kind of what he's going through right now, because he refuses to do what is necessary to move forward. And I pray that God will send somebody stronger in his life, since he won't do it himself, that person will do it for him. If that lady in that other country that was flirting with Rev was serious and wasn't playing around, and Rev would have actually went to that other country and she would have been legit, that would have actually helped him. It would have helped him get away from that toxic, lazy con artist that he's with now. And he can actually get up and do something with his life again and be enthusiastic about doing stuff. Because I believe this is where Shanny's going to be for the rest of her life. I don't believe Shanny's going to do anything to change the situation. All that stuff about losing weight and all that stuff, I think she's full of it. Shanny looking for the next sucker. That's what she's looking for. Anyway, guys, you guys take care. This is the video. And I'll be back with another one, hopefully sometime in the future. All right. Later.